Otakon 2017, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Otakon was an anime convention held from August 11th through 13th, 2017 at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C. Welcome to DC Otakon, the much-anticipated move. I myself had several concerns coming into the convention, but let's see how they did. For the good, the badge pickup worked again this year. There was almost no one waiting in line to get badges when I arrived. The badge mailing system appears to be completely effective for this convention. The Marriott Underground Bridge was super effective in getting attendees from the attached Marriott Hotel into the convention center. It just worked really well, even with said bag check going on. The convention center ended up being a major pro for the con. Yes, you did get lost a little bit in the first few minutes you were in there. There were a few rights and lefts you had to make, and sometimes you didn't end up where you thought you were going to. But overall, the additional space in this convention center very much benefited Otakon. It just worked really well. The dealer's room showed vast improvement this year. This was one of the first years I can actually say I was comfortable walking around the dealer's room. I didn't bump into people. You could actually walk around and look, and it was just gigantic. I had a friend who said it took him 2 hours just to do a single pass to get through, and that actually is accurate if you were looking at everything. It was just so big. For once, Otakon had more than enough space that you could not bump into other attendees. Did I bump into a few? Yes, but nowhere near as many times I've had to bump into people at Otakon in Baltimore. You could easily walk around and not be in anyone's personal space. Even in the dealer's room, as I said earlier, there was just a lot of room for everyone. And I ran into very few lines throughout the weekend. Most panel rooms were big enough to accommodate all the attendees that wanted to go in. It's just you could actually do stuff this year, unlike in Baltimore. And finally, I did not see a single broken escalator all weekend. And that's a miracle. Baltimore escalators would be breaking everywhere. This place, I didn't see a single one. They all worked, and they all worked well. A lot of good improvements this year at Otakon. For the bad, what was really bad was the Otakon Marriott reservation system. It didn't work. So I'll explain to you what happened. We got to our hotel, and yes, they had valet parking it, which was great for us, but we go to check in, and we were supposed to have a double. Nope, they are out of doubles, they only have singles. I know my reservation was set for a double. So basically, we get there, and thankfully, our room was not overloaded, or we would have had a serious issue. We were able to get a rollaway. The staff were very helpful, but the reservation system did not work with Otakon and the Marriott. For the ugly, what could have been better? I'm going to say the bag check. I myself personally did not have any major problems with the bag check, and from what I understand, it was not exactly the convention's decision to have it. I myself think it was unnecessary, though it was very, very efficient. I think it just added one extra bit of uncertainty, a little bit of delay that could have been easily avoided by not having it. It just seemed really not necessary, but apparently we're in DC, things are a little bit different. There were a lot of schedule cancellations this year. It was very noticeable on Guidebook. A lot of things in there with the words canceled next to it, both panels and viewings. It's the first year I've ever noticed something like this at Otakon, and I'm curious if they made a decision to just keep them in there so people would know, but it made the con seem like they had content issues. I very rarely have to call out specific panels during a video like this, but I have to. The Funimation Industry panel was garbage. Basically, it was nothing but an hour and 15 minutes of advertising and 15 minutes of something that had some new announcements in it that really no one cared about. It was a poorly thought out industry panel. The hosts were not that enthusiastic, and generally it was an embarrassment to Funimation. If you want to see how an industry panel should be run, go to Discotech, go to Nozomi Right Stuff. Those were great panels. Funimation needs to relook at what they're doing at conventions. Finally, I did not care for some of the photo shoot locations this year set up by Otakon, particularly the stairs in the main lobby. I thought it was too busy. I thought you couldn't get good pictures. I'm usually good to attend a couple of group photo shoots every year. I found most of them undoable this year. I would have gotten no pictures that were particularly usable. Overall, I thought Otakon used the new location well. They made great use of the space. It was overall a very enjoyable event. Most of my concerns ended up being alleviated on day one when we got there, had our parking, hotel, and badges. Even checkout for us was not terribly bad this year. We got out pretty early. Our bag check worked, and everything was just pretty smooth. I'm going to give Otakon a B this year. I think the next few years are going to be super interesting. We don't know attendance figures just yet, but I would guess it's probably not up to the Baltimore levels yet. But with the next few years and some good word coming out of this convention, it'll be interesting to see if the people return that had left because of Baltimore, or if the convention will attract new attendees and start growing again. Thanks for watching.